Yes Theory had their first premiere for the documentary. Well, okay, actually, I think they're on like 3 or 4, but they released a video on how their first premiere went and kind of behind the scenes. It was very cool. It was the first one was in Copenhagen, and I really can't wait till this is actually released on YouTube to watch. I don't know how long it is. I'm guessing it's like hour 45 at least. So it's a full length documentary, but I'm very, very curious to see what they're able to do. It's very cool. Like the whole team, Matt, Mar, Thomas, like all of them, all the main guys that have been with them for years that started the company together and have been friends for 8 years are all there, and they're going around just supporting it. It was awesome. Not only that, but they did also release a new video where they went and swam with sharks out in Hawaii without a cage, which is a little ballsy, but I think it was very eye opening because it was kind of like it kind of pushed the irrational fear thing a little bit, where I was like, oh shit, maybe because I have a fear of the ocean. I don't think it's sharks. I think it's just a fear of the ocean and not knowing. I don't feel like that's necessarily super irrational. I don't have a fear of like swimming in the ocean and a shark necessarily getting me. Like a shark's not what pops into my head. I don't know if there's anything that actually pops into my head. I think in general the ocean should be respected as its own force, and it's kind of like weather. It's like you don't want to piss it off kind of thing. Like I don't know. So it was very cool to see because it was like it's sharks attacks. It's like one in every over like 12 million people might get attacked by a shark, when you can get struck by lightning, and so a chance of 1 in a million. So, all right, real quick, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel. It's much appreciated. Make sure to hit that bell icon so you're reminded when new posts are out, and I will see you guys all later. I talked about a whole lot of stuff. They had a photographer that was actually with them that's a conservationist for sharks, and he had actually been attacked by sharks and is an amputee and lost his lower half of his right leg. So it was very cool to see someone that's had actually had an encounter to be so, I guess, almost like forgiving to the whole situation, but he was also very respectful in the sense of understanding that he was in their turf, terrain, all this stuff. He respects nature in the sense of like shit happens kind of thing to an extent. And it was very, very cool to see like these sharks so up close, and they talked about like the fishing situations and how many die, and I think it's like, oh, I can't remember how many sharks get killed every day that they said like globally. It kind of blew my mind. I was just sitting there and I was like, wait, what? Like that many sharks get killed every single day? I think it was like, I think almost 50,000 a day, millions every year, which like I think there's a lot to be said with conservation. Like it's such a crazy topic, and with the ocean, it's so fucking hard to really enforce or try making changes at times, especially when you go to other countries. Like there's not much you can do for like the Philippines and some of these Asian countries where there's not necessarily as many restrictions and laws and all this stuff to enforce stuff. But I think even in some of the major countries, they're talking about like slack lines that would run miles with hooks every 3 feet, and how that 80% of the stuff that get caught, and they check the hooks like every 2 or 3 days. So all the animals are dead most of the time. And they check these lines, and 80% of them they end up just throwing, and they don't keep. And it's just like, wait, what? They set out these hooks for 3 miles. Don't check them for days. Let all these animals die. Throw out 80% of the bodies, and it's like that's so wasteful. Like it's like if at one point for me, it's like if you are gonna kill a shark, or accidentally catch all these things, try to do something with it. At least in my eyes, it's like to just also leave it and just throw it out and stuff like that. It's just like so arrogant and wasteful. And that's the one thing I think with like humanity is there isn't much respect for nature. And I know, I mean, I can't necessarily, like I've talked to you guys about this before, when it comes to like green energy and all this stuff and certain things and climate change or whatever. It's like I can't preach too much. Like I don't have a EV, I don't have solar panels in my house, I don't have this or that, but I'm at least very aware, and I understand that in many situations if I wanted to, and I could and should be better, but in the sense of respecting nature itself when it comes to littering, polluting, like doing different stuff along those lines, it's that's the thing I hate is like the deforestation, the killing of animals to near extinction, the pollution that affects habitats, like that I think is the thing that upsets me the most. At one point, all right, do we have global warming? Are the temperatures going up? Are we possibly going to kill ourselves? Yeah. In that process, are we going to kill everything else? Yeah, very possible. But when we're not to that point and we're just like dumping gunk and bullshit and chemicals into rivers and chopping down millions of trees to try farming in Brazil that you can't even fucking farm on, and like doing all this shit, it's just mind blowing. It's like, why do we think this kind of stuff's good? Like it really doesn't make sense to me, and it's very sad, but it happens. I'm very proud of Yes Theory though for everything with their premiere and their video. I can't wait to watch the documentary. I really don't know like the timeline of when it might be released. I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks, but I could be wrong.